Most people think addiction is about weakness, about lack of control, about someone making bad choices over and over again. But Carl Jung saw something the medical textbooks didn't, something most of us are afraid to admit. He believed addiction is not just a chemical trap, it's a spiritual hunger, a thirst that no drink can quench, a craving no substance can satisfy. He saw it in the faces of patients who were lost, not just to alcohol, opium, or gambling, but to the ache of living without meaning. To Jung, addiction was never only about the thing consumed, it was about the hole in the soul that begged to be filled. And here's the truth he discovered. Until you find what that hunger is truly for, you will never be free. In this video, we're going to explore Jung's rare and radical perspective on addiction, and why he believed the only real cure doesn't come from willpower, medication, or even therapy, but from something much deeper. When Carl Jung looked at addiction, he didn't just see a disease. He saw a story, a myth unfolding in the human soul. Every addict, he believed, is on a journey, not the kind they think they're on, but a hidden path towards something they can't name, something they might even fear. To Jung, the addict isn't simply someone out of control. They are a seeker, though their quest has been hijacked. What they truly long for is transformation. But instead of finding it in the depths of their own psyche, they look for it in the bottle, the pill, the thrill, the screen. And for a fleeting moment, it works. They feel different, whole, alive. This is why Jung's approach shocked many. He wasn't content with telling people to just stop. He knew that if you take away the object of the addiction without replacing it with something greater, the void will only grow, and it will demand to be filled again. In 1961, Jung famously wrote to an American pastor about a hopeless alcoholic named Roland Hazard. His words were blunt. "You are in the hands of a disease that only a spiritual experience can cure." Jung wasn't talking about joining a church. He meant an awakening, an encounter with meaning so profound it rewires the very core of your being. This idea that only a deep, transformative spiritual experience could truly break the chains of addiction would later inspire the birth of Alcoholics Anonymous. But for Jung, this wasn't a step in a program. It was the heart of the cure. When most people try to overcome addiction, they start with discipline. They make promises to themselves. They set rules, deadlines, punishments, rewards, and for a while, it might work. Days, weeks, maybe even months go by without a relapse. But then, one moment of weakness, and they're back where they started. Jung believed this wasn't because addicts lacked strength. In fact, many had shown incredible strength in surviving pain, in enduring life's pressures. The problem wasn't their willpower, it was that they were fighting the wrong battle. Imagine your soul is starving, and you try to survive by sheer discipline, refusing to eat what's killing you, but never finding the food that will truly nourish you. How long before hunger wins? How long before you give in? For Jung, addiction was never just about stopping the behavior. The drink, the drug, the compulsion, these were only symptoms. The real cause was the absence of something greater, a missing connection to meaning, to purpose, to the deeper self. Willpower might lock the door on your addiction for a while, but unless you fill the emptiness inside, your addiction will find another way in. It might return in the same form, or it might disguise itself as something else. Overwork, unhealthy relationships, endless distractions. Without inner transformation, the addiction simply changes masks. Jung's point was clear. You cannot defeat addiction by resisting it alone. You must transcend it by replacing what it gave you with something infinitely more real. Carl Jung often said, "One does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious." And when it came to addiction, he saw that the darkness was not the enemy, it was a messenger. Before we continue, please take a moment to like this video. Your support helps more people discover these ideas. And if you're enjoying this journey into the mysteries of the mind, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss what's coming next. Now, back to the video. This darkness, in Jung's language, is the shadow, the hidden, rejected parts of ourselves we don't want to face, the pain we've buried, the shame we've locked away, the parts of our personality we've exiled because we feared they were unacceptable. Addiction, Jung believed, is often the shadow's cry for attention. The drink, the high, the rush, they become ways to numb the voice of the shadow, or paradoxically, to let it speak in destructive ways. It's as if the shadow says, "If you will not listen to me directly, I will find another way to be heard." But Jung also saw something deeper than the shadow, something ancient, universal, and vast. He called it the self, the archetype of wholeness. The self is the organizing center of the psyche, the blueprint for who you were meant to become. It contains both light and dark, both the parts you embrace and the parts you avoid. The tragedy of addiction is that it's a distorted search for the self. The addict is reaching for transcendence, for unity, for a feeling of completeness, but through a path that can only offer a temporary and fragile imitation. Jung's insight was this: to truly overcome addiction, you must stop running from your shadow and start integrating it. Only then can the hunger driving the addiction be satisfied, not with illusion, but with authentic wholeness. Carl Jung saw 3 essential steps to this transformation. 1. Radical honesty. The journey begins with brutal self-honesty, not just admitting what you are addicted to, but deeply understanding why you cling to it. Addiction often serves as a mask or a coping mechanism, dulling pain, anxiety, loneliness, or existential emptiness. Jung emphasized that addiction is rarely about the substance or behavior itself. It's about what it symbolically represents or covers up inside you. Begin by telling yourself the truth, not just about what you're addicted to, but about what it gives you. What pain does it numb? What emptiness does it fill? Until you know that, you can't replace it. 2. A living connection to the numinous. Jung believed recovery requires reconnecting with something greater than the ego, a numinous experience, a spiritual awakening that breathes new life and meaning into existence. This is not about adopting a religion by default, but about awakening to a sense of wonder, awe, or purpose that transcends everyday struggles. It could be found through the beauty of art, the peace of nature, the stillness of meditation, or the fulfillment of helping others. This connection has to be lived, a vibrant, ongoing experience that grounds you and nourishes your soul. It acts as an anchor, offering hope and guidance when temptation or despair arises. In essence, it fills the void that the addiction once tried to fill, but with something real and sustaining. 3. Integration of the shadow. Perhaps the most profound step in Jungian transformation is facing and embracing your shadow, the hidden, darker parts of your psyche that you have repressed or denied. Rather than waging war against your inner darkness, Jung encouraged welcoming it into consciousness, understanding its messages and motives. The shadow often holds valuable energy and truths that can be redirected toward growth and healing. For example, the same restless or intense energy that drove addictive behaviors can, once integrated, become a powerful force for creativity, compassion, or purpose. Recovery, for Jung, was not a return to who you were before the addiction. It was the birth of someone entirely new, someone deeper, freer, and more whole than before. Carl Jung believed addiction was not just a battle with substances or habits. It was a misplaced search for meaning, for wholeness, for connection with the self. Until you answer that deeper call, the addiction will return. The true freedom is not just breaking the chain of addiction. It's walking the path toward the life your soul has always longed for. And that journey is the ultimate cure. If this spoke to you, please like this video and subscribe for more deep explorations of the mind and soul. Share your thoughts or experiences in the comments. I'd love to hear your story. Remember, true healing begins within. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video.